Hello and welcome to another episode of Jesus Doctrine. Today I want to answer a question that I was asked on the streets on Saturday. A man from a different religion came up to me and challenged me from the Bible to prove that Jesus was actually from the tribe of Judah and he was actually a descendant from David. And he challenged me to prove that statement through the Bible. And the reason he was challenging me like this is because, from his understanding, he understood that Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary. And Jesus being born without a father, he had no fatherhood and no lineage that would link him to the tribe of Judah. You see, you've got to understand that your tribe was something that was passed on not through your mother, but through your father. And as a result of it, if Jesus didn't have an earthly father, how could he possibly be from the tribe of Judah? And so that's what I want us to look at today from the Bible. So the first thing that I want to say on this is that in order to be a king that sits on the throne of David, Jesus had to be a direct descendant from David. God said this to King David in the Bible: "And I will give you rest from all of your enemies. Moreover, the Lord declares to you that the Lord will make you a house. When the days are fulfilled that you lie down with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring after you, who shall come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. When he commits iniquity, I will discipline him with the rod of men, with the stripes of the sons of men. But my steadfast love will not depart from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before you. And your house and your kingdom shall be made sure before me. Your throne shall be established forever." In accordance with all these words and in accordance with all the vision that Nathan spoke to David. From that verse and many others that we hear in the Bible, it becomes really clear that we are always going to have someone sitting on the throne of David, and through that lineage is going to come a man that takes away sins, that's going to be punished for the iniquities of others, that's going to be chastised on behalf of other mankind, and we're going to see Jesus come through that lineage. And all the kings of Judah eventually come through the lineage of David. They're all direct descendants from David. So was Jesus one of these descendants? Well, in the book of Matthew, we read about a genealogy that begins the book. And genealogies are one of my least favorite things in the Bible. So I'm hoping that this video and the series that I make on genealogies is really useful and informative and makes it a bit more exciting when you read it. And so in Matthew chapter 1, we have this genealogy of Jesus. A lot of people debate whether this is the genealogy of Mary or whether this is the genealogy of Joseph. I am going to tell you as a fact, this is definitely the genealogy of Mary, and I'll prove that in one of the other videos that I'll make about this topic. In Matthew chapter 1, we see the genealogy of Mary. And you're probably thinking, didn't you just say that it needed to be a father that passed on the inheritance to the tribe for Jesus? I did say that, but I believe we have grounds for an exception in the case of Jesus. And the grounds for the exception are that normally in the Bible we read about men begetting children, we read about men giving a seed. But there is one woman in the scripture that we read about having a seed, and we read about a woman that had a seed. We read about a virgin that brought forth a child, and we read constantly about this woman and her seed. That's a very strange term for a Jewish reader. Men have a seed. Men are the ones that give a seed to a woman, and a woman becomes pregnant. Women give birth, but men give the seed to the woman. But we read about one woman in scripture constantly through the Old Testament, all the way through it, about this woman that has a seed. In Genesis chapter 3, I'll start off there. When God was cursing the serpent, God's words were very curious, and they said this: "I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and her offspring. And he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." Now, the Hebrew doesn't use the term offspring, it uses the phrase seed. And this is what a man normally gives to a woman so she can fall pregnant. But here we read about Eve's seed, that one day from Eve, that one day from women is going to come a seed, is going to come a child. Not from man and woman together, but through the woman only is going to come a seed. This is important. This is exactly what we see in Jesus. We also see another passage that speaks about this, such as in Isaiah. Isaiah 7 reads, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." Now in the Gospels we read that Emmanuel could be translated God with us. And so we have this picture being formed of a woman that brings forth a child without a man being used, a virgin that is pregnant with a child, a woman that has a seed, and with a seed is passed on the inheritance to that child. And so we have an argument that Mary's genealogy, that Mary's tribe was inputted into Jesus because she passed on her seed. And so it's quite possible we can make the suggestion that Mary passed on her tribe to her son because this woman never was impregnated by a man. Therefore, the seed was spoken of coming from her rather than coming from the father. It's really important that we understand that Mary did come from the tribe of Judah and that Mary's own family was from Bethlehem, Judah. Mary was a direct descendant of King David, and so we know that she was from Bethlehem. We can find this through the genealogy that we read in the book of Matthew. We read about how Jess and David and how Nathan were all family members of Mary, and so we know Mary's lineage from the genealogy that we find in the book of Matthew. Now, the genealogy in the book of Matthew for Jesus is not complete. It is a summary taking little selections and portions of the genealogy of Jesus to tell a particular story. Please do watch the rest of the videos in the playlist that's just above if you want to understand the genealogy of Jesus much better. Now, there are probably going to be people that have a problem with the idea that a woman can pass on their surname, pass on the tribe, pass on those kind of bits of information, which normally would come from the father. I will in the next video begin to explain how I can prove that Joseph was considered the father of Jesus and it wasn't through adoption. My point in this video is simply trying to make it clear to everybody that Jesus was definitely directly a descendant from King David, and he was definitely from the lineage of Judah. So if you would like to learn more about genealogies, please tune in to my next episode of Jesus Doctrine.